Hello there, world of tankers, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, To Mod Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be showcasing how you can mod your World of Tanks Blitz client to get really cool models and skins. A lot of you have been asking me how I am able to make my tanks look so much better than the base, I'm going to be honest, pretty lame camos and skins that Wargaming has in the game. I mean, look at how good my Foch looks. I'm sorry, Wargaming, but your Hololive camo doesn't even come close to how good this Foch camo looks. And it's not just the Foch. I have a 50B remodel, and the AIM XM4, and the BZ75, and literally just about every other tank in my garage at tier 10 has some sort of really cool remodeling available on it. Most of these are from World of Tanks PC, especially ones like on my 4005 here, but I also have ones that are entirely unique, which are like this Tesla 183, which is absolutely epic. This Chieftain Mark 6 one is epic as well. This one's from World of Tanks PC. But point being, a lot of you have been asking how I've been able to mod my client, so I'm going to be showcasing today. And we're going to be showcasing in the form of remodeling a tank for you. So this here is the Skoda T27. It's got a decent camo, but the tank doesn't have PBR, and honestly there's not much 3D styling on the vehicle. What if we wanted to get a much cooler remodel on the tank? Well, how about we use this one right here, the Skoda T27 Janzicka. I don't know how to pronounce it, but this looks way better than the one we have in Blitz. So we're going to make our way down to the bottom here and download for PC. I do not know how to use modding on Android. I should mention now, I only know how to mod on PC, and that's what I'm going to be showcasing here today. I'm also going to be showcasing mainly for the Steam client because Microsoft Edition is a pain in the butt, and if you do want to mod the Microsoft Edition, I'm just going to say good luck. But here we are. We can see I now have the download link available. So I'm going to download our Skoda T27, and I'm simply going to open the file. So just like this, we now have our Skoda T27 file called 3D. So what are we going to do now? Well, I'm going to make my way over to Steam. We can see Steam right here. I'm going to click on it, press Properties, and Browse. So that's all you got to do. Just like that, we've now popped up our data folder for Blitz. And if we double click on the data folder, you can see 3D. If we simply drag this 3D file into our data folder, just like this, and it will say Replace. Congrats, you have now modded your game. So our Skoda T27, if we click off and click back on, now looks like this. It's that easy to mod your game. So if you play on the Steam client, this is just how easy it is to do any of these remodels. Now, some of them do not work, and you will run into some troubleshooting that you'll have to figure out, so I'd highly recommend to make a backup. I actually made a whole Blitz mods folder, so we can see for me, like I have a folder called Blitz mod, and these are all of my mods that I have. I have all my tanks here that I've modded, each one for Great Britain, and all the different, nations and parameters and everything there. So I would recommend to do that as well. The easiest way on Steam to just fix any of the mods you have is just verify the integrity of your files. So if you go to Properties and you see Verify Integrity of Game Files right here, if you press that, it will simply remove the mods you've put on and put it back to the base game. So if any mods are messed up, a very easy way to fix that. Something else that you should keep in mind is some of these mods mess up the armor profile of vehicles that you are aiming at. And I've especially had that problem on this website, which is called Blitz Mods. It's a very good website. I've used a lot of their mods, but some of them feature problems which do need to be talked about, which may run into issues for you as a player. A good example here would be something like this T110 E4 remodel. See the hatch on the E4? Well, as we know, the E4 got a reskin in Blitz, or not a reskin, but when it achieved its better graphics, the hatch got smaller. But the hatch on the PC is still bigger. So because of that, basically, if you download some of these mods, they're going to show weak spots that don't exist on Blitz, or they're going to hide weak spots or have armor highlighting issues. So I would highly recommend to mess around with a lot of these models and see if they work for you or they don't work for you, because I can tell you for a fact I have had some problems with some of these mods. I've had to uninstall them. A great example is this Minnow one right here. While this Minnow reskin looks epic and I really like it, I had to stop using it. And the major reason why is because of the fact that the turret has an additional plate that the mod creator has put in front of it, and that plate shows up as invisible. Because of that, it makes it look like an instant pen when you look at the turret. And the response I got was, Well, you should know the armor profile of a minnow, and that's just BS. I'm sorry. You will not know the armor profile of a minnow. Every single tank in tier 10 has different pen values, different heat values, and depending on what angle that vehicle is using, it is entirely different on how much pen you're going to need. And the response of you should know the armor really doesn't mean anything, in my opinion. I think you should make mods that work with the game clients. That should be one of the major criteria, is that armor models should not be affected. Now, there are people out there that don't care and they just want their tanks to look cool, but personally, I am a player who would rather have performance over a reskin, because I still like to have good stats, I still like to perform well in this game, and I think most of you would like to do that as well. So all the skins that I've messed with, all the remodels I have on my account, do not mess with the actual performance of your gameplay. They will not mess with the armor highlighting, which is something that is very, very important to me personally, and I think something that is very important to you guys as well. So definitely something to keep in mind. For those of you who play on the Microsoft Edition, yes, modding is possible. In fact, I am logged in to my Microsoft Edition right now. And as we can see, I have mods and reskins working on all of my tanks. But if I'm going to be completely honest, the amount of time, effort, and sheer will you're going to have to use to actually get your Microsoft Edition to work is not worth the time. First of all, your files are locked by Microsoft themselves, so you have to gain admin access to these files by changing the actual ownership through Windows PowerShell. Then, after doing that, you're going to have to download something like IOBit Unlocker, because even after owning the files, you still cannot actually copy them over like you saw me do with Steam, where you just can't drag 3D into your Microsoft Edition. You're going to have to use something like IOBit Unlocker, and you're going to have to put them in there, and then it's going to force inject them into your Microsoft Edition. And even when you do that, for some reason, Microsoft, I don't know, anti-cheat or Defender or something like that, and I've tried turning off Windows Defender. I don't know what the problem is. I've asked other people. They don't know what the problem is. Point being, for some reason, Microsoft doesn't transfer all the files over. So then you have to go into each of the individual smaller files inside of the Microsoft client, drag those over into IOBit Unlocker, have them transferred over. It is an entirely tedious process. It's something that 99% of you do not want to go through the effort of doing, and if you do, you probably already know how to do it to begin with. Point being, I would stick with the Steam Edition if you play on PC and you want to use mods. That's as simple as it is. The Steam Edition is incredibly easy. You can also do the exact same thing for the Wargaming client. If you know where the Wargaming client is and you play it through Wargaming Center, it's the exact same way. Simply drag and drop into the 3D data folder, and congratulations, the mods will work. But yeah, Microsoft Edition, I put in the effort because I actually play much better on Microsoft Edition, and I would rather have performance, again, over mods. But I put in the effort to get these mods to work on my Microsoft Edition, meaning that I get the best of both worlds. But for most players out there, I really cannot stress enough how much effort it takes to get your Microsoft Edition to work. I was literally spending 2 hours yesterday dragging and dropping files with Flossie when he was streaming. And not only that, but if Wargaming updates the game, which obviously they will, Steam Edition, as you guys saw, I have a folder with all my mods in it. So when Wargaming updates the game, it's obviously going to replace all my mods. So I can simply drag and drop that whole update mod folder I have, boom, right into my Steam, and in like 2 minutes, I'll have all 50 of my mods instantly installed and ready to go on Steam. On Microsoft Edition, that doesn't work. I will have to manually reinstall each and every mod, which will mean I'll have to spend another hour and a half doing this over and over and over every time Wargaming updates the game. In other words, just don't use the Microsoft Edition, use Steam. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.